I ruled Rome, and still I could not escape myself. I commanded legions, I passed laws, I wore the purple, but none of it silenced the whisper behind my own eyes. The whisper of fear, of desire, of shame. The whisper that mocked me when the crowds cheered. The whisper that watched me when I was alone. At night, when the marble floors turned cold, when the scribes and servants vanished into shadows, I faced the real war. No banners, no blood, just the silence and the self. This is the war within. You may conquer cities, but fail to conquer pride. You may gain status, but remain a stranger to virtue. You may build empires, but collapse in weakness when no one is watching. This is the only war that matters, the only war that lasts, the only war where the enemy wears your face. What follows is not a lecture, it is not advice, it is a call to arms. This is a campaign against the enemy within, not waged with swords, but with silence, not for land, but for soul. And like all campaigns, you must know your enemy. Here they are. Enemy number one is comfort. It has crushed stronger men than you. It does not cut. You never bleed from it. But you decay. Slowly. Softly. Smiling while you rot. Enemy number two is speech. The tongue, a traitor behind your teeth. It betrays thoughts before they're ripe. It boasts, it flatters, it craves applause, it wounds quicker than the sword. Enemy number three is impulse, lust, rage, envy, gluttony. This is not a feeling, this is a coup. If you do not rule your passions, they will make you a servant in your own house. Enemy number four is ego. It dresses like a king but fears silence like death. It needs praise. It fears obscurity. It feeds on attention and dies in truth. Enemy number five is distraction. It lives in your hand. It wakes with you. It whispers every time you grow still. It robs you of presence, of depth, and of life. Enemy number six is false peace, the softest trap. It tells you you've arrived, that the work is done, that stillness is the same as peace. But true peace is earned, not given. These are the enemies, and this is your war. Now we go through each of them, one by one, in full detail. Here we shall look in detail at enemy number one, comfort. Comfort is the silent poison. It does not strike like an enemy. It seduces like a friend. It whispers to you when you are tired. It holds you gently when you ought to rise. It offers pleasure when you need pain. And men, strong men, have been devoured by its soft embrace. Comfort is not a bed, it is a trap. It is not rest, it is decay. I have seen warriors march barefoot through snow and sleep in trenches dug with bleeding hands. They stood tall, they sang in the dark. But I have also seen those same men destroyed by the softness of return, by feathered beds, by idle days. by endless praise. They did not fall in battle, they fell in comfort. When you kneel to comfort once, it becomes your master. It wraps you in its arms, then buries your ambition beneath a pillow of ease. If you seek truth, choose the harder path. If you seek strength, walk willingly into the storm. If you seek freedom, then suffer with purpose. Do not fear hunger. Let it teach you discipline. Do not fear fatigue. Let it show you what endures. Do not fear discomfort. Let it be your training ground. Comfort will not make you happy. It will only keep you from knowing who you are. Your body was made for struggle. Your mind was made for fire. Your soul was not made to sleep. End your day not with ease, but with effort. Let your muscles ache. Let your silence deepen. Let your conscience rest only when your hands are calloused and your spirit sharpened. Then, and only then, can you look at comfort and say, "You offered me peace, but I chose freedom." Now we face the second enemy, the traitor that lives behind your teeth, speech. Words are fire. They can light a path or burn it to ash. They can free a nation or bind it in chains. They can heal, bless, clarify, or they can confuse, poison, and destroy. One careless word can ruin a man. One heated reply can begin a war. One whispered lie can ruin the work of a decade. And still, men treat speech like breath, as if it costs nothing. The tongue is wild. It is the only muscle in the body that grows sharper with misuse. It resists command. It outruns reason. It seeks applause, not truth. It prefers noise to thought. A man who must always speak is a man who has never met himself in silence. I have seen kings fall not by dagger or army, but by the words they spoke at the wrong table. I have seen soldiers betray their brothers with a joke. I have seen great minds lost to the addiction of having the last word. I sat in the Senate where orators spoke like gods, and yet I left empty. Their words circled like birds above a battlefield, never landing, never touching the ground. They spoke much, and yet said nothing. Do not mistake eloquence for wisdom. Do not confuse noise with strength. The man ruled by his tongue is like a dog ruled by scent, easily baited, easily led. He chases arguments. He leaps into quarrels. He reveals what should be concealed. And in doing so, he weakens his own soul. But the man who rules his speech, he is a fortress. His words are rare, and so they carry weight. His silence is not absence, it is presence. His restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. Speak only when you have measured the cost. Speak only when silence would betray your duty. Speak only when your word can build more than it breaks. Let others speak to be seen. You speak to serve. Let others chatter in panic. You speak from peace. Let others provoke. You speak with purpose, or not at all. I wrote to myself once, "The more we speak of virtue, the less we practice it." And so I bit my tongue more often than I answered. I let my actions speak when my words would only stir pride. Let your silence speak for your strength. Let your calm be your shield. Let your few words strike like the sword, not often, but decisively. Not every insult requires a reply. Not every question deserves an answer. Not every fool must be corrected. If you are always explaining, you are not leading. If you are always reacting, you are not ruling. Let your voice be like thunder, heard only when necessary, and never mistaken for noise. Rule your tongue, or be ruled by it. Now we come to the third enemy, impulse. Impulse is the hidden ambush. It does not wait for strategy or order. It strikes before reason can draw its sword. Impulse is the fire behind your eyes, the tightness in your chest, the shaking of your hand. It comes not from thought, but from instinct. And if you do not rule it, it will rule you. Anger, lust, envy, panic. These are not visitors, they are forces. They live inside you, waiting for a moment of weakness, waiting for the hour your guard is down. I have felt it. The desire to lash out, the need to possess, the rush to defend myself, to justify, to retaliate, in the battlefield, in the palace, in my private chambers. But I learned, no man conquers others until he conquers himself. Impulse is not your enemy because it exists. It is your enemy because it demands obedience. A beast is ruled by instinct, but you are not a beast. You are mind. You are reason. You are command. Let passion surge, but let it kneel. To feel anger does not make you weak. To strike in anger does. To feel fear does not make you cowardly. To obey fear does. To feel desire is human, but to be led by it is slavery. The Stoic does not pretend to be stone. He feels, but he chooses. He watches his passions like a general watches a mutinous legion, closely, calmly, prepared to act, but not surprised by rebellion. The wise man feels everything and obeys nothing but truth. Impulse wants you quick. It wants you unthinking. It wants you loud. It wants you frantic. So you must be the opposite. Slow, still, watchful, clear. When rage rises, pause. When envy stirs, observe. When lust tempts, breathe. Remember that you are not your first reaction. You are your second thought, your third breath, and your fourth choice. So, do not curse your impulses. Use them, study them, sharpen them into insight. The fire inside you was given not to destroy, but to illuminate. Let reason rule and stand unmoved. Now we face the fourth enemy, the one that wears a crown of illusion. the one that whispers, "You are the center," even as the world burns around you. Enemy number 4 is called ego. It is not loud at first. It begins as a whisper. You deserve more. They should see you. You were right. But it grows, and as it grows, it consumes. I have seen generals crippled by their own fame. I have seen men refuse correction because it wounded their pride. I have seen fathers turn harsh, lovers turn cold, kings turn mad, all because they could not bear to be less than glorious. I, too, wore the purple. I was called divine. I had statues built in my honor, coins struck with my image. But I knew every title is borrowed, every monument is dust waiting to happen, and every cheer today becomes a whisper tomorrow. If you live for praise, you will die in its absence. If you anchor your worth in being seen, you are already lost. Ego is the child who demands, complains, boasts, and sulks. It cannot serve, only strut. It cannot wait, only grasp. It feeds on attention and starves on silence. But the soul, the true soul, grows in shadow. It grows in obscurity. It grows in the invisible labor of duty. Ask not, will this be admired? Ask, is this right? Ask not, will I be honored? Ask, will I be whole? The man ruled by ego needs to be loud in victory and loud in defeat. He cannot walk alone. He cannot go unrecognized. He cannot lose without breaking. But the man ruled by virtue, he does the work. He carries the weight. He seeks the good, and he needs no applause for it. Let others bask in the spotlight. Let them mistake noise for significance. You build in silence. You act without audience. You serve the eternal, not the visible. I wrote often, just that you do the right thing. The rest does not matter. That sentence saved me. When pride rises, bow. When the crowd cheers, turn inward. When recognition is withheld, keep moving. Do not play the part of Caesar. Play the part of a man, a servant of duty, a student of virtue, a soldier of the soul. Starve the ego and feed the soul. Let us now turn to the 5th enemy, the thief of presence, the quiet killer of focus, the subtle assassin of the soul's attention. The 5th enemy is called distraction. Distraction does not come dressed for battle. It does not arrive with a sword. It arrives with softness, with novelty, with something urgent but not important. It enters while you blink. It does not demand. It suggests. It does not strike. It seduces. It calls to you in the space between thoughts, in the space between breaths. It calls when you're tired. It calls when you're bored. It calls when you are afraid of stillness. Distraction is the enemy of depth. And where there is no depth, there is no meaning, no growth, no true peace. I have seen senators read letters while others spoke. I have seen generals chase trends instead of tactics. I have seen fathers with their children, present in body, absent in mind, their eyes flickering like a flame about to die. The distracted man is not evil. He is simply elsewhere. He is scattered, fragmented, splintered across 100 shallow tasks, never touching the depth of a single one. And so his life slips by, not in failure, but in fragments, not in ruin, but in restlessness. Every time you reach for your distraction, you are leaving something, a thought unfinished, a moment unclaimed, a truth unfaced, a person unheard. Now we come to the final enemy, the most deceptive, the most seductive, the one that enters not with fire, but with false stillness. Enemy number 6 is false peace. False peace is the quiet voice that says, "You've done enough." It is the warm fog that says, "You've arrived." It is the sweet poison that says, "There is no need to struggle anymore." It flatters you when you should be vigilant. It praises you when you should be sharpening your sword. It turns growth into pride. It turns vigilance into complacency. I have seen wise men drift into softness. I have seen warriors lay down their armor too soon. I have seen the disciplined forget what made them strong, not because they were defeated, but because they believed the battle was over. But the war within never ends. As long as you breathe, the enemy is near. He will change his form. He will offer you ease instead of excellence. He will offer you peace without cost. He will offer you approval without virtue. False peace wraps surrender in sacred language. It says, "Let go," when it means give up. It says, "Accept yourself," when it means abandon growth. It says, "Be content," when it means stay small. Never let false peace steal what you were born to become. Do not trade your fire for calm. Do not trade your crown for comfort. You are not finished. You are only forged. Never surrender the struggle, and never fake the peace. You have now fully heard of the battlefield. You have faced the 6 enemies you have seen. That comfort kills with a smile. That speech betrays when it is unruled. That impulse must kneel to reason. That ego must be starved to feed the soul. That distraction scatters the spirit. That false peace is surrender dressed in silence. You now know what most never will, that the greatest enemy is within, and the greatest glory is to conquer the self. Victory is not loud. It is not grand. It is quiet, repetitive, daily. It lives in early mornings and disciplined hands. It lives in held tongues and mastered moods. It lives in unnoticed acts of duty and quiet acts of courage. It is not won once. It is won every hour you rise, every craving you deny, every breath you reclaim. Do not look for applause. Do not seek a rival. Look only for the next right choice, the next hard step, the next quiet act of self-rule. You have learned to walk into the fire, to choose what is right over what is easy, to hold fast when others drift, to act without witness, to suffer without complaint, to serve what is eternal. This is the throne worth claiming. This is the empire worth building. You are no longer ruled. You are ruler. Now rule yourself, and the world will follow.